The Taliban are forming a new government in Afghanistan. For India, there can be no isolation of the Taliban regime as was the case in the 90s. Why? Because this time around, the Taliban government have been accorded legitimacy by none other than India's key ally and partner, the United States of America. For India, it is the beginning of a new phase of bilateral relations with Afghanistan. So what does a Naya Afghanistan mean for India? Let's decode it for you. Pakistan tried to redefine itself by calling it Naya Pakistan, but little changed on the ground. While many are waiting to see what the new administration in Kabul is going to look like, apprehensions continue to remain over respect for freedom and rights, especially of women and the minorities in Afghanistan. While India is engaging the Taliban, it has adopted a wait-and-watch policy. The overtures of the Taliban towards India are a positive movement forward, but, like they say, cautiously optimistic should be the approach. Ties between Pakistan and the Taliban run deep, but recent remarks by leaders of the Taliban, Tanizai and Anas Haqqani, have been received well in New Delhi, whether it has to do with non-interference in Kashmir or to further trade and ties. Having said that, it is important to note over here that Pakistan and the Taliban are almost inseparable. Former Ambassador of India to Afghanistan, Ambassador Gautam Mukhopadhyay, explained the whole scenario very well when he said that Tanizai and Anas Haqqani's statements welcome because they show some independence from the ISI, but India and New Delhi cannot overlook the ties between the two, between the group and the Pakistani military establishment that hosted the Taliban for decades. In all this, it's the Afghans who are the most affected. India has a hard bargain forward without a strong ally in Afghanistan. With the US troop withdrawal, India's strategic interests and investments are now vulnerable. Giving a very real assessment of the situation on the ground, Harsh Pant of Observer Research Foundation said, Taliban will be the most important stakeholder in the emerging political structure in Afghanistan, and India has a practical necessity in engaging with the Taliban. Speaking of engagement, the recent meeting between the Taliban leadership and India's envoy to Qatar, Deepak Mittal, India put forth her priorities, which is safe passage of Indians, Afghan Hindus, Afghan Sikhs, as also Afghan friends from Afghanistan to India, and ensuring that Afghan soil is not used against India. That is to say, that Pak-based terror networks should not be given safe havens or should not be harbored in the AFPAC region. India's interests in Afghanistan are manifold. It is not just about ensuring minorities and women's rights are protected and secure in Afghanistan, but also ensuring security of India's investments in infrastructure projects and assurances when it comes to connectivity, given Afghanistan is a key link. While the future of such multilateral connectivity cooperation seems dicey, the Taliban is trying to and attempting an image makeover of its perception. But with Haqqani and other proscribed terrorists as part of the government, an absolute overhaul is almost unlikely. Given such a scenario and looking at what the new regime is going to look like, India will have to be prepared for a response in case of an eventuality. For now, India is engaged with all those countries and stakeholders who have or carry some influence over the Taliban and have been allies of the Taliban, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, even Russia, to ensure Indian interests are secure in the region and through these tumultuous times. While Pakistan has an upper hand, Pakistan's policy should not override Taliban's own ideas of ensuring that they have diplomatic ties with countries across the world rather than being isolated and be dependent on Pakistan and China alone.